Welcome to the Jammin' Show. My name's Ben Villers, and I'm a fitness trainer, DJ, and MC here in Los Angeles, California. Welcome to my show. I appreciate y'all tuning in. And today's episode is going to be about my perspective of pain and how to explain pain to some people and just what my take on it. Pain is your brain telling you to stop doing that. Okay. And when you use that perspective, okay, then you'll understand that it always makes sense. So that includes, in theory, if you trip and fall and you hurt yourself, that's your brain. That pain is telling you to not fall again, or you will hurt yourself. Or playing sports, don't make that specific move that way again, or you'll hurt yourself. Or you have to strengthen something, or you'll have a non-contact injury. Or being dragged by your dog, or picking up your baby the wrong way. It always comes down to that type of theory, right? Where pain is your brain telling you to stop doing it that way. If you include it into the gym and you get hurt in the gym, it probably has to do with a mobility issue or not proper form. Because when you have good mobility and you have good form in the gym, you don't really get hurt, especially if you are listening to the signals your body sends you, the warning signals. And adults do a much better job of listening to those signals than young people do, right? Your brain gives you signs in situations, and these signs, these warning signs, are meant to protect you, even if you feel like it's doing the opposite, right? So tightening up, tensing up, getting those eerie feelings. But a lot of those signals that your brain sends you are because it doesn't know exactly what it's also looking for. Your brain is running on an autonomous system, and it only knows what it knows, right? Your brain is so advanced, but at the same time, you have to teach your brain all of the instructions and all the features of your body. Otherwise, your brain will run on this autonomous system and do random things that you can't explain, right? Again, like pulling something, tightening up, overly loose, you know, a lot of times these are just mechanisms your brain are telling you to protect itself. And again, from your perspective, it's an inconvenience, but from your brain's perspective, it's doing what it's supposed to do, right? Understanding this concept is important because then you begin to learn that knowledge is really one of the best ways to eliminate pain. Because then your brain will stop running on this automatic autopilot system. When you learn what your body is supposed to do, what it's not supposed to do, different features of the body, what's functional, what's dysfunctional, a lot of your issues begin to go away, right? Um, and that's why a lot of times it's super important to have progress in your physical routine. So if you're continuing to make knowledge and make progress in your routine, and it's not just this hamster wheel style routine, it's actually progressing upstairs, ascending up. Think of pain as kind of, you're looking at that in the rear view mirror, right? You're just going forward, not worried about what's happening right now. It's in the past, and you're just looking at through that rear view mirror, right? And you begin to just kind of forget about some of the pain that you might be having. And forget is really the best way to describe it. So for me personally, this episode is based off of experience, being an athlete, being a trainer, studies and research, and my own data collection on these topics. And that's really the sense on every episode I create is the combination of all of my experience plus research I've done plus my own data collection. Remember, I've been an athlete my whole life. So since I was able to walk, I was skiing and playing soccer and playing basketball and baseball, and I evolved into other sports. I studied kinesiology in college. I been a trainer since 2014. I've had all the experience that I need. I've done a lot of research, and then I collect my own data through the Jammin Fitness app, right? So I'm not just taking total closing my eyes darts against the wall, right? And what I've learned to be the best progress in eliminating pain, and someone who used to go through pain, is continuing self-education and knowledge and making noticeable, measurable progress in your fitness routine. And then not really, you don't want to like test your pain. You know, a big mistake I've made in the past is like I feel really good, but then like I'll try and like do a test to see if it hurts or not when I didn't even need to do the test in the first place, right? So what that means is kind of like going out of your way to test something that you don't need to instead of just going about your day normally and just forgetting about the pain, because you want to go through more positive experiences in your day to day than painful ones. Being stuck in pain can be really sad because it's kind of like this never ending potential cycle. And the longer you're in pain for something, the more it has an effect on your psychological, right? It begins to change the way you act, the way you do things, the way you feel, the way your energy is distributed. And you want to get out of pain as quickly and efficiently and naturally as possible, right? So, learning about your body, making progress in your fitness routine, understanding that what you're going through, whatever it is, can just be defense mechanisms from your brain, and you're just looking to unlock those mechanisms, turn it off the autopilot, right? And just understanding that pain is just a defense from what your brain doesn't know. Adults see these signals better than others, than younger people, and this applies to lifting heavier weight or being in a bad environment. Um, Understanding that there's a difference between something just being difficult and hard or you not having control of the situation. So in regards to fitness, you know, so like what's really common when teaching someone how to lift heavy is teaching them that difference, right? And I think a really good metaphor comparable to lifting heavier weight and pushing yourself is like school and taking a test, right? So we've all, everyone listening to this podcast has been in some type of school before. Doesn't matter what you graduated in, but you've taken a test or a quiz or a homework assignment that's hard, but you still like did well, right? So that means you had control over the situation, but it was hard. It was difficult, but you did well. So lifting weights and lifting heavier can also apply to this. So let's say you're trying to lift more and you're confident in your form that you're doing it right. So you want to push it so that it's hard, but that you've got control. And when you are losing control and with good form, that maybe is your time to get away from that or stop a little early because you might hurt yourself. Those lack of control signals is your brain being up, be careful. I'm warning you. I'm warning you now. If you keep going further, you're going to hurt yourself. Right? So listening to those signals and having great form comes down again to knowledge, right? And practice. Recognizing a bad environment. You've been there before. You're like, nope, I don't want to be here again. I got to go somewhere else, right? And understanding this is important too, because over time you're going to get bumps and bruises and aches and things are going to happen to you, but that doesn't mean you got to stop doing what you're doing altogether. A lot of times, aches and pains comes down to lifestyle choices, and most of the time your activity that you got hurt on wasn't the real reason you're in pain in the first place, but kind of just that breaking point of the things you've been doing in the past, right? So a big mistake that people make when they're in pain is stop doing what they're doing altogether, when in reality, it's actually the opposite. But you want to maybe modify and adjust and fix what you did wrong that caused this pain in the first place. So common for someone to get hurt, at least in the gym or in sports, and then just stop doing everything because they are worried about getting hurt again. If you do it the same way, you're right. There is a chance that you can get hurt doing it that way. But that doesn't mean you got to stop altogether, especially if you enjoy it, right? So now you do need to strategically navigate through the pain, around it and through it, a little bit of both. Because, it's proven by science that completely resting and stopping everything you're doing long term isn't the move. I mean, you want to rest a little bit enough to stabilize the injury, whatever that may be, but then you want to get back after it. You want to get back after it and continue to make progress, being patient and modifying your routine. Because if you let the pain intimidate you too much, you're never going to really get through the issue. Because bumps and cuts and scrapes and aches, it's inevitable. So if you're like fearful every time something like that happens, you're never going to make progress. You can't be too timid, and you want to increase your pain tolerance over time. This is something that can be managed and controlled by you long term. Everyone has different pain tolerance loads and levels, but everyone has a choice of improving their own pain tolerance, right? It's a mental thing. It requires a lot of focus. But one additional thing that helps is breathing, right? Focusing on your breath and imagining yourself doing things without actually physically doing them. I tell my clients a lot in live workout time, focus on your breathing. Focus on your breathing, because focusing on your breathing really distracts you from the pain or the agony of whatever exercise that we're doing. And imagining yourself doing something has helped me in a lot of my activities and me coaching my activities. I feel like, I've been able to coach quite a few people into improving their performance in a lot of different things. And a lot of that is because I tell them to imagine and think about in their own brain, seeing themselves do what they want to do. And I do the same things as well. And And the combination of being a little tough, making progress, understanding the body, having knowledge, focusing on my breathing has all helped me from getting out of pain long term. And being positive, don't being negative. Stop thinking that someone else is going to fix your problems when, in likelihood, whatever professional you see, they're going to tell you tips and tricks to do things on your own that you can be doing to fix the problem. There's no magic pill or surgery that's going to fix your problems long term. It might fix them in the short term, but if you're not making changes to your routine, you're going to go back into what caused the problem in the first place. Okay. So these are all steps and guides towards understanding pain and avoiding pain long term. Not stopping what you're doing altogether, continuing to have positive energy, not unnecessarily testing what causes you pain, trying to forget it, making progress, learning more about your body, understanding that pain or tension or tightness is just your brain sending you warning signals about to not do it in that exact way. And you'll start to make progress and changes in your routine. Again, don't think that someone else is going to fix these problems for you, because they're only going to fix them, in the short term, right? So I'm going to finish off this episode, right, by telling you to really understanding that, again, pain is just, you want to be a little bit tough and begin to learn to manage it through. So I just want to go over just a couple basic types of pain. And maybe you're dealing with one, and hopefully this information can help you. So these are just some simple definitions of pain from, of the pain. So there's acute pain, chronic pain, neuropathic pain, and then nociceptive pain. Okay, and nociceptive pain and acute pain are similar in the sense that they are like direct things that's happened to you. And this can be confusing because for a while I got this wrong myself. So acute pain is, by the textbook definition I found online, it's less than 6 months, but it can be from a surgery, broken bones, cuts, burns, dental work, childbirth, versus nociceptive pain is more of like you bumped yourself, you hurt yourself, you scraped yourself, twisted an ankle, right? And those get confused by even myself and many others. So this is more direct physical pain that you're dealing with. And these, you can heal them yourselves. And with knowledge and making progress and doing the right protocols, you can heal all of these pains, right? Even if you're older. When you're older, it takes a longer time to heal, but that doesn't mean you can't heal altogether. And then there's chronic pain, and this is pain that lasts for over 6 months, and this is something that is just continuous. It can be contributed to a health condition that you have, or you're doing something wrong in your routine and you're not fixing it correctly, and it just continuing to persist. And then there's neuropathic pain, which is like nerve damage. And this can be done, this can happen from a variety of different ways. This can be a condition, or it can be from like, something hardcore, like, a stab or a burn or a shooting pain, being shot, something gone terribly wrong. And now your nerves are messed up as well. But in situations like this, you still want to try and condition and rewire your brain to make progress on nerve issues as well. In the end, you want to go consult your doctor and make sure you have clearance and appropriate guidelines as to what to do, but they're not going to solve your problem altogether. And I'm telling you, doctors don't know everything about the recovery progress. There are some great doctors out there, but not everyone knows exactly what they're talking about through all phases of what you're dealing with, right? And there's many other different kinds of pain, but I felt, sharing just those four kinds can be helpful and bring things back full circle. So I hope this information helped. If you want to work on something with me, a goal that you think I may be able to help with, I have my own gym, or you can join me on the Jam and Fitness app. But continuing to pay attention to my social media and viewing my podcast and my blog posts will continuously help with your knowledge, which in the end will help with your healing and your pain. So that's why I love to make this content, because I know in the end it hits home a lot more than people even understand, because I know if people are learning and progressing, even though they're not paying me for anything, they'll know deep down inside I help them and will continue to be more involved with everything that I do. So I hope this helped. I hope you enjoy what you're doing. I hope you're not dealing with too much pain. And if you are, I hope this episode helped. And have a great rest of your day, guys. Take care.